Hey guys, thanks for joining me for another episode of The Comment Section. America is healing. Taylor was booed. And Trump got cheers. It was a wild night for sports fans everywhere and honestly for Americans. Last night, it actually felt like America could unify around their overwhelming support of the Philadelphia Eagles, which seemed to pay off in their massive victory against the poor Kansas City Chiefs. That game was brutal. They got wrecked.
We haven't played that bad all year.
But of course, what I want to talk about is the commercials. Commercials, by the way, that were $8 million for a 30-second time slot. While I would rank most of them in a category of not really worthy of spending those millions of dollars on, they weren't incredibly painful to watch either. There was Pete Davidson making Area 51 jokes.
You're an alien?
All famous people are aliens.
I'm not.
I meant like really famous people.
The singer Seal, as a seal. And even Bud Light had one with Post Malone and Shane Gillis that honestly made me chuckle.
Your mower smokes meat?
Oh, a smoker cuts grass.
Hell yeah.
And for a moment, I forgot about what they did. It's true. With Peyton Manning, too, like the dad jokes, I was chuckling.
How many Bud Lights can you fit in that puppy?
As many Bud Lights as it takes.
A lot of Bud Lights.
Nike made an almost pro-woman ad featuring real women playing sports. The NFL also ran a female-centric one calling for all 50 states to start a women's flag football league. Something that honestly in high school I would have been all for, as long as it is just for chicks. Speaking of chicks, there was an ad full of boobs, only to learn at the end that it was a breast cancer awareness ad, which brilliantly caught the whole country's attention. But today I want to focus in on one of the other booby ads and why it has the right so divided.
Cabbage, come and get it.
Connie, no. Put those away.
I watched every second of the Super Bowl and I did not see this ad run during that time slot, so I think it either played right before or right after the game, but it was the ad with Carl's Jr. and Alex Earl that had the internet talking days before the big game because they had launched the ad early. New York Post tweeted about it and said, Carl's Jr.'s Super Bowl ad brings back bikini-clad burger models after years-long clampdown. And that is a picture of Alex Earl, obviously, eating a giant burger. America is healing, and she's actually a woman. Another person who just doesn't like Carl's Jr. in general said, Carl's Jr. before and after this information. See, they're dying, so they're trying something again. Someone else said, real body positivity. America is returning back to sanity. Glad woke us over, that was painful. This guy had a further analysis and he said, nature is healing. First, Victoria's Secret finally abandoned its disastrous woke rebrand and brought back beautiful feminine models. Now, Carl's Jr. is returning to what actually works. Sexy, confident, unapologetic advertising. After years of forcing joyless, virtue-signaling campaigns on consumers, major brands are waking up. People want to see beauty, confidence, and fun, not forced political messaging. All very true. Then he goes on and says, Carl's Jr. dominated advertising in the 2000s with high-energy commercials featuring stars like Paris Hilton and Kate Upton. But then, like so many other companies, they caved to the woke mob and stripped everything that made their brand stand out. The result? Years of forgettable marketing that nobody cared about. Now, with Alex Earl leading the charge, they're embracing what works again, sex appeal, humor, and a celebration of indulgence. Now, before getting further into this episode and into a debate that is raging online, I wanted to look into Carl's Jr.'s past and why they did what they did and why they ended up changing it. Carl's Jr. was originally one of the brands that really leaned into this idea of selling to sell a product that had nothing to do with sex. What started with a bikini-clad Paris Hilton back in 2005 began a theme for the brand that spanned decades. The ingredients were hot chick, minimal clothing, eating a burger. For a while, it successfully garnered lots of eyes, angered a lot of people at the time, and sold a lot of burgers. But over the decades, the tide started to change. In 2016, Business Insider ran a piece describing the evolution of a brand like Carl's Jr. up until that year, in which they were changing their strategy by making sure that the women they featured were multi-talented. So essentially, they had to be known for something other than their body to star in the commercials, which is just funny to me. At that time, in 2016, that meant including actresses and athletes. Then in 2017, their tactics stopped working altogether. As they said in a Washington Post article at the time, the young, hungry men they were targeting started to care more about where their beef was being sourced rather than the women in the commercials, which is sort of like based dudes. They're like, where's the beef coming from? Is it organic? Like, that's hilarious to me that they're like, we don't care anymore. It says, Carl's Jr. no longer sells. But unlike a brand like Victoria's Secret, Carl's Jr. didn't seem to abandon their old ways because feminists were raging about body positivity. They changed because the customer's focus fell back on the product and potentially how bad it was. And considering even in their commercials, their burgers look disgusting, I'm going to take a guess that they did not go that route even during their hot girl hiatus. Fast forward to 2025, and it appears that Carl's Jr. wanted to try again and see if their old tactics still work. Which, for any year to do this, this is the year. I'm not surprised by, everyone's excitement. Of course. It's like, girls, a woman, boobs. Now, at first, when I saw the Alex Earl ad, I did think, okay, we're getting back to normalcy. This is funny. But the more that I thought about it and the more that I read some comments, I did start to question, as a conservative, if this really was the win that we were celebrating it as. And that was the hot debate in the comments. Very hot debate. So many comments. One woman said, you know what? I kind of enjoyed not having other men's wives or future wives exposing themselves to me everywhere I go. I didn't like the pendulum on the total opposite side either. Can we just go back to having classy, family-friendly advertisements? With all the depravity the left has advocated for in the last decade, it's such a shame that when we go back to showcasing scantily clad women on TV, that we breathe a sigh of relief and a return to normalcy. Why can't we drop the woke without having to overcorrect and put women back into glitter pasties during family programming? I'd go without sexualized commercials. I'd be happy with just not pushing woke stuff. Welcome back to the sexual revolution. Producer of the things you hate. Congrats on the win. I mean, I don't think there's proof that we need to have women dressing like that to sell an item. Even Carl's Jr. proved it a couple years ago. Make a better product. Your stuff stopped selling because you didn't have a good burger. She looks hot. It's great. Whatever. But also, is it great? Sexy women is like a Band-Aid on a bad product. If you also watched the big game last night, then I know that you are probably feeling exhausted, just like I would be if I wasn't sleeping on my Helix mattress. My new Helix mattress has been a game changer for good night's sleep. Over at Helix, they don't just sell you a random mattress, they actually match you with the perfect one for your body and sleep style. Whether you're a side sleeper, back sleeper, or somewhere in between, they've got you covered. And trust me, when you find the right match, you'll wonder how you could ever sleep on anything else. Truly, I have slept on the same mattress for well over a decade. I absolutely loved the mattress, but then Helix sent me a new mattress, and my mind was blown. I had to put away the old beloved one and introduce this new one because it is literally fantastic. It's super squishy and plush, which I loved about my old one, and I didn't think I could ever find that again, but I have, and it's 10 times better. Right now is actually the perfect time to upgrade your sleep because Helix is offering an incredible President's Day sale. And for my viewers, this sale is even better than you would find it if you just visited the main page. Go to helixsleep.com/Conrad for 27% off site-wide, plus 2 free dream pillows with a mattress purchase, plus a free bedding bundle, which includes 2 dream pillows, a sheet set, and a mattress protector with any Luxe or Elite mattress order. That's helixsleep.com/Conrad for 27% off site-wide, plus 2 free dream pillows with a mattress purchase, plus a free bedding bundle with any Luxe or Elite mattress order. helixsleep.com/Conrad. Now back to the debate happening on X. The way to be woke is not to pump out sexualized content. Children watch the Super Bowl. This is not the way. Again, this is a nationwide audience. Someone said, where's the beef tallow though? That's the real change. Otherwise, this is just the inverse of virtue signaling. Which that's also an interesting point of how do we spin it completely? We're just going to stick sexy women everywhere. Change your product or else the virtue signaling doesn't matter because the substance of the product is the issue, right? It's like Victoria's Secret needs the hot chicks because they're selling bras and underwear and the idea of women looking hot. So I get it with Victoria's Secret. So there's more of a discussion to be had there. That makes sense to me. I don't really care, but isn't it funny how conservatives hate OF but will champion something like this? It's just interesting that people are picking up on that.
Reality hits you hard, bro.
Being against pornography, being against OnlyFans, and then they see us celebrating this, so they're starting to call out certain questions. In all of this discussion, I more so find the irony in the fact that this is Alex Earl, which from a marketing standpoint, well done from Carl's Jr. This makes sense. This is what she's sort of known for. But for conservatives and us celebrating this, there is a discussion to be had about the fact that she does represent hookup culture and getting drunk every weekend and being the spokeswoman at just 24 for filler and plastic surgery. One girl pointed this out and she said, okay, I mean this in the nicest way possible, but women are not supposed to look like Alex Earl. Our minds are used to it now, but her face is full of filler and she has had breast augmentation. Nothing is real. Did we forget how beautiful women are naturally? And then she showed an old photo of Farrah Fawcett. And she went on and said, I feel like more and more people are getting sick of this Instagram face. All the influencers and people in the public eye look the same, except for the select few that have had nothing done, like Elle Fanning. Gentle reminder that God doesn't make mistakes. This post is about urging people to return to their natural faces and reject weird new phenomenons like lip filler. Back then, I don't think anyone was looking at that photo of Farrah and saying her lips are too small. Your face is the way it is for a reason. Everything is perfectly balanced by God. Don't mess with it. The idea of this Instagram face was actually something I saw Evie magazine talk about recently, and they made this reel on Instagram. The era when no one had the same face. It just shows a bunch of actresses at the time who looked different, but you could see their expressions in their faces, and they don't have a bunch of filler the way that people do today. I miss it. Real hair, real noses, real lips. I especially miss real teeth. Not talking about normal orthodontia. I'm over the inflated, frozen faces of today. Kardashianization has ruined modern women's beauty. The era when women weren't looking like drag queens. No one in their 20s should even be considering fillers and Botox. Please bring it back. That discussion was also happening over on X regarding this photo that went viral, and it was just a photo of a before and after of a girl getting her makeup done. And one woman said, men will often choose the carefree, natural look on the left. The look on the right, women do for other women. And the redheaded libertarian took this photo and shared it and said, men, is this true? Yes, there is nothing more beautiful than a naturally beautiful woman. 100% yes, the lip injections and obsession these days to attempt to look like a hideous Kardashian is an instantaneous turnoff and reduces your score by full 3 points. Yes, the look on the right is for other women and gay men. That's an interesting point. She looks like two different people. The girl on the right looks like every girl I see on Instagram. And then the girl on the left looks like a girl. In all of this discussion, it just seems like society is just desperate for real women again, and not just biologically speaking. We left the early 2000s stick skinny body perfection standards in the past, only to stumble into a new type of body ideal that is only attainable through medical intervention. One where everyone's lips must be of a certain volume and not a crease can be visible in one's face. Talk about an impossible body standard. And hear me when I say that I'm not trying to come at those who use filler or Botox or get plastic surgery, but rather I'm trying to make an argument for the natural body again. And I know that may sound ironic coming from the girl sitting here with a full face of makeup on who wouldn't dare show up on this screen with my natural under-eye dark circles. What I'm saying is that I get the filler phenomenon. I'm 27 and I'm already starting to see those lines hang around on my face a little bit longer than I did in the past. And then there are women even younger than me on social media, like Alex, with their glowing skin talking about the latest filler they've just had. And it is admittedly hard knowing that technically there is a quick fix to those lines. We are our own biggest critics, and frankly, critics of one another. And for those of you who don't believe me, just ask the men in your life the same question that girl did in that tweet. I have never talked to a guy that prefers that look. Not one. Thankfully, I have a man in my life who rolls his eyes at me when I bring up those growing wrinkles in my face and reminds me of my worth. But even with that, I know that there is pressure both internally and societally to make sure that I look a certain way. And as we continue to glamorize and idolize that certain look, that unintentional pressure will remain. But perhaps we can trailblaze a new American identity in this golden age to bring back the natural American girl aesthetic from years ago that has remained classics to this day. I mean, back in the day, bombshell women were known for looking unique. Like Farrah Fawcett didn't have big lips. Cindy Crawford had little quirks and moles and things that made her special. And now we're remove those things. We all have to look a very certain way. That's not good. And it loses what makes us unique, but also uniquely American. There's nothing wrong with women flaunting their femininity, being sexy and confident with a dash of some all-American patriotism. Like the Pepsi-sipping Cindy Crawfords of yesteryear. That was iconic. She was iconic, she was sexy, she was Americana, she sold a heck of a lot of Pepsis, but she also didn't have pasties on her boobs and flaunt this thing that we're trying to get away from. I think that's, the Cindy Crawford is what, if that was presented back on our televisions last night, it would make total sense if conservatives were heck yeah, she's hot, she's beautiful, and she's selling a product, and that's awesome. But Alex Earl quite isn't what I would celebrate that same way. There's nothing wrong with a hot chick selling a product. That's great. It's been done since the dawn of time, and it will be done forever. But as conservatives, what type of hot chick selling a product do we actually want to be celebrating? Cindy Crawford's 30 years ago, yes, awesome. She's beautiful, but not slutty, feminine and sexy and confident and American, selling an American product, and that's awesome. Alex Earl, wearing that, is not perhaps the most conservative thing I've ever seen. It's not communicating maybe the same message that we think that it is. They were like, oh, women, yeah, we're back, baby. And like, we're sort of back because we're celebrating women, so that's great. It's a real woman, so like, we're coming back. But where do we want to fall in that pendulum swing?
Going from Dylan Mulvaney to Alex Earl is a step in the right direction.
Right, so
But
I
we've
get why
still
we're all
got-
clapping. I
we've
get
still
it.
got work to do.
But we're still not quite there yet. That's why I keep going back to Sandy Crawford, because that I think of like a role model in terms of visually she's stunning, but she's also natural, at least at that time. She was a natural beauty who was clothed but still hot, and everyone will always talk about Pepsi. That ad. Let's get back to that. When I start seeing that, I will celebrate that we found an identity with a perfect mix of our pre-woke past with a new emphasis on a natural beauty once again. Thanks so much for watching today's episode. If you want more content like this, make sure to subscribe to our channel and like this video if you enjoyed it. And last but not least, if you want more content, you can follow me on X and Instagram. Thanks so much and have a great day.